Hey everybody, welcome to Powerbombshells episode 10. We've made it into the double digits finally. Thank you for sticking with us this long. We are two broads talking about wrestling and the wrestling that we watch. I'm Sam and that is Mel. Before we get into today's episode, we want to give a quick shout out because if you have been following us on Twitter, you know that we have a brand new, very fancy logo, besides the very fancy intro that you just saw. Also have a very fancy logo. Look how amazing it is. I love it so much. And you know what's even better is Mel surprised me with this logo. I didn't know. We had talked about it prior to us beginning to record the show. We talked about a logo, and then I got this. She surprised me with this, and it's wonderful, and I'll let her tell you more about it.
Well, this was done by one of my all-time favorite people in the whole wide world, who I'm going to pop his information up here on the thingy so you guys can go. And he is Obe Cube everywhere. And just love you so much. You're the best. But I have to add a little extra shout out because he is, I'm going to leave that up there and I'm going to show everybody this pretty cool thing that is, he is the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the universe of founding what we call One Rad Club, which is, I meet so many of the artists that, one of the artists from that was in the club suggested that, and I mean, we're all friends, so it's really fun. And it's not just artists, it's cosplayers. There are retro gaming. I mean, the tagline that they have on there is retro gaming and nostalgia podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's fair. One of my favorite podcasts on there is Saturday Morning Crunch. Mm-hmm. Which is the three hosts that are on there with Q. Q's one of he's the main host. And they go and watch old Saturday morning cartoons.
That's awesome.
And then they review them. And it's really cool because some of them are artists. So you get to hear that part of it. But you also get to hear what everyone thought of Denver the Last Dinosaur, which we all need to hear about. And I am marking out for him because he's a wonderful person and he's I just thank you. And I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that Sam liked it because I was part of me was how could you hate this?
You can't.
I was I was a little worried. I mean, anytime I surprise someone, I'm always is it going to be bad? Is it going to be weird?
Not in this case.
I was no, she liked it. And we've got all the bombshells are wandering around all of our social medias now. And
yes.
The happiest people ever.
Yes.
So
it
if you see me randomly here, look, I can do that.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, subliminal messaging. So, and you'll start to see them hanging out more in the Fake Game Media Network. And
I
mean,
yes, we love it so much. Yeah, and I sent it to after, because I asked her, I was like, okay, can I put this on Twitter? It was within a few minutes. I was like, can I go ahead and make this our Twitter, Abby, please?
I'm just so glad that you loved it.
Yeah, and then I texted it to my friend group, and I was like, look at what Mel had commissioned for us, and they were like, oh my God, it looks so great. So they loved it too, and even if they didn't, I don't care because I love it, and that's all. So as long as we're happy with it, but I love it, and I think it, like I was telling her before we started recording, that it makes our Twitter timeline, I think the colors stand out, so when people are scrolling, they'll be like, ooh, what's this brightness, and they'll stop and look to see what it is. So that's really cool. So thank you so much for that. He did a fantastic job with it. It looks incredible.
And I'm gonna one more quick put it up there.
Yes, please follow.
It's such a fun, easy one to get on there. It's OBQ with a K, and he's everywhere. And he does. They're producing some of the people that I know. They produce a zine quarterly that has a topic, and it's really weird because you think, oh, no one cares about like zines anymore.
Right.
Well, it's been like weirdly, wildly popular. And
good for them. That's
it's
awesome.
like, and it's just, the topic this time I think is fast. One was fear, like right around Halloween last year.
Oh, cool.
And it gives people a chance to do that. And I think that like the law that hasn't been lost.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun. And also, I'm on their Discord and we talked wrestling so much that they started us a wrestling channel. And seriously, that's great. Love.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thank you so much about our friend who made us a happy, fun thing you're going to see all over.
Yes.
Now we're going to get into some actual wrestling stuff.
Yeah. So we, both of us, as you know, we watch a lot of wrestling. Dontaku was this, well, I was going to say last night, technically this morning for us. Neither one of us have had a chance to watch it yet. But we did first. Well, I will say while we're on the subject of New Japan, we're both watched Strong. It's awesome. Keep watching Strong. You know how we feel about it. We talk about it every week. If you're not watching, you're missing out. Please go watch it. And so we found out, actually, I saw a tweet that talked about one particular person in BOSJ because I didn't realize they had released the blocks yet. And so I sent it to our friend group, and so a friend was like, oh, I'm going to go look it up. And so I was like, so I messaged Mel. I was like, so do you want to talk about the BOSJ blocks? And so we are going to. So if you have not seen the blocks, it's really good. Look how fancy that graphic is. Look at all those wonderful people that are going to be in the BOSJ. BOSJ is one of my favorite tournaments.
I'll pop it back up in a minute.
BOSJ is one of my favorites. I'm super excited about this, especially because they're bringing in outside talent, which will make it even better. So I guess, do you want to just run through the blocks real quick? I guess we can do that.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. It was hilarious that I just woke up this morning and my first message was like, blocks are out. And it was like, get to the brackets.
Yes,
which I know that some people on the network are bracket people, but maybe not as many as that's new to me too. I did a best of super. My first brackets were for a best of Super Junior.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I did. I think I've done a best because I'm not really a bracket person. Just because I'm like, I don't know, but I mean, some of the matchups are generally kind of obvious, but then they like to throw in some swerves and so
well, and I don't like care if my whole thing crumbles. Right. I did it as a test to do it for a G1 after about like my third or fourth G1 because I really wanted to like give it a try because I like that sort of thing, and it makes me. And I actually enjoyed it. And that was the year that like Rocky Romero had that ridiculous match with the LP and Ospreay. And there was so much. Oh my God. Okay. Let's put this back up there because I looked at it and I was like, okay, this should be good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And there's,
it's good.
Oh my gosh. There's a couple of people that were on here that I really, okay.
Yeah, this is going to be really good. And I'm really
screaming into the microphone over and over.
And I had talked about this a few episodes ago that I had hoped if AEW talent was going to be in BOSJ, that I hoped that Top Flight was going to be involved. I don't know if that was ever the case and if things changed because Darius was injured or if they just were not going to put them in there yet, which I understand. And so I was a little bummed not to see Dante Martin in this just because I think he would be phenomenal. Like, I really just want to see him versus, pretty much anybody, but I really want to see him against Haramu, like really bad. So that might be, maybe that'll be a forbidden match, a Forbidden Door match one day or something like that. But
there you go.
This is still a fantastic. I cannot wait to see because we're gonna get so many new matchups, which I think is gonna be even cooler. And so I'm really excited about this. The more I look at it, the more excited I am about it. So we will see. So you see everybody. So they brought in. So it was interesting that Clark Connors is the one from the La Dojo that got that he's the one that's going to represent them. So that was really cool, which Clark Connors deserves. I think he's great. And so I'm really excited to see what he can do.
I had a conversation with a friend about this actually. And the reason is that he is the last junior heavyweight in the LA dojo. So Carl is a big guy now.
Yeah.
So
he's G1.
Oh my God.
He couldn't even, he can't even be Shingo when Shingo was in BOSJ and should not have been. I mean, I was glad.
Don't even start talking about stuff like that. I don't want to go there. It's too much. It's these like, okay, I want to talk about a couple of what I consider to be like really cool additions that you wouldn't have been. I mean, Clark, I'm totally excited. I'm excited to see an LA Dojo guy in there at all. Like Taguchi's Taguchi, and he's awesome.
He's always fun.
I kind of never get tired of it, even though like I should, but especially this time of year. This is his deal.
Yeah, this is when he kind of like ramps it up a little bit. He's ready.
He's Austin. What a fun like choice that he doesn't get enough. Like he wrestles. It's like he wrestles better. You see better like stuff out of him on Strong because that's the nature of how Strong kind of works.
Right.
But I saw his name on there. I was like, perfect.
Yeah. So I watched. So on last week's Impact, Rocky came up to him while he was talking because he just won the X Division Championship for the third time. And so Rocky came up and was like, hey, you could be good in BOSJ. I have some hookups. And it wasn't like confirmed, but he kind of was like, okay, you're in it. And so I was just like, hell yes. I love Ace Austin. Like I saw him on the Indies, before he was right before he went to Impact, and I think he's great, and he's just gotten better and better. And I think that sometimes because the X division is such a strong division, sometimes I think people, I don't know if it's just not necessarily overlooked, but because he's so good and we expect it every time, that people just kind of like that's just what you come to expect. And so I think putting him in BOSJ gives him the opportunity to wrestle so many different people. And I think that he could really stand out here. And I think people are going to realize just how good he is. And he's like, I think like 24. He's so good. And he's already a 3-time X Division champion. And this time, and another reason I like to see him in this is I was going to say he can't cheat. I mean, obviously you can always find ways to cheat, but he's not going to have Madman Fulton in his corner. And so he's going to have to do this all by himself, which, like he said, he won the X Division title all by himself. He said, people seem to think that I have to cheat to win. And he was like, and I proved that I didn't. And so I think that's great heading into this tournament, that he's going to prove that he can do all these things by himself, which I think will be great. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him and what he does.
Let's get back up. Get back up there. All right, it's back up here. We've got, I, of course, would like to see Gino Gambino get back on the microphone.
We need it.
Doki, because
of course,
if I don't get some Doki Jokey, I don't know, Key.
Is this even BOSJ if we don't get that?
At this point, I don't know. He really, what I think is funny is how he leaned on it and then got Kevin Kelly doing it.
Yes.
And it's like, I remember the first day it happened where Kevin Kelly did it, and it was like, yeah.
He was building towards it.
I'm not even like the biggest Doki fan. He's all right. But
yeah,
I'm over here like, come on, please be Gino. Please be Gino. Let's see. We got Taguchi, Yo, Clark Connors. We don't really need to write them off because I'm sure that everyone. Alec Zane, that's really cool.
I'm excited for him to be in there because he's always fun. I kind of thought that they might, and when I saw him, I was like, oh, Blake Christian isn't in this, because you kind of think of those two together all the time just because of the things that they do in the ring. So I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe they didn't want two guys who were not so similar, but I guess maybe they just wanted to kind of showcase different, or maybe it's just, I don't know, but I'm very excited for Alexander. He's always fun and he's always doing cool shit. And so he's going to do cool shit here. So I'm excited about that.
Hey, that Wheeler Yuta kid made it into the Best of Just Super Juniors.
Wow, can you imagine that?
What a weird day it is.
So that's the tweet that I saw, was that somebody tweeted and said that Wheeler Yuta was in BOSJ. And I was like, what? So I immediately texted and I was like, I don't care if you didn't want to know, because you know now. I was like, our boy has made it to BOSJ. I'm so excited. I was like, oh, he's going to kill it. And I think it's good for him too, because you'll get to, I mean, because he is more technical, but I do think that he will get to show like a different side of what he can do. And I think that's really cool. And I still would like to see him against Zack Sabre Jr. at some point, but I'm very happy that he's going to be in BOSJ, because he's going to have some good matches. And I can't wait till we get like the match breakdowns of like who everybody's facing. So that will be exciting. Very excited for Wheeler.
TJP, Mr. TJP there. Fantastic. Of course. Like TJP is actually kind of exciting, because that's a sort of new idea too. Like, I don't know El Lindemann.
Yeah, I was just looking him up because I thought that's who because I recognized him and I was like, I think I know who this is. So he's in Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. So when Strong Hearts came to AEW with Chima, he is also, which is what I thought. And I was like, I think this is the correct person. So yes, he is also in Strong Hearts as well. Okay. So that is cool to see him there, especially so he's coming from another Japanese promotion, which is cool that they're including that. I mean, they did because Chima was there in the New Japan Cup. So
got it.
That's cool to see him in there as well.
And let's see. Pop that back up on the thing, because I'm just gonna talk while I do what I do.
I'm excited to see Teton. I haven't seen Teton in a while. I was trying to remember, because he was he in
the last Best of Super Juniors that was a real one, probably?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. And it was funny because now
what I remember him from.
I'm so used to saying Teton that when I see it spelled that way, that's how I pronounce it. I don't pronounce it Titan.
I pronounce it Teton too, because that's how it was pronounced a bunch of times around me for a long time.
Yeah, so if I just like in general see the word Titan, I'm like Teton. I'm like, wait, nope. That's not who we're talking about.
It's, so I do the same thing.
I'm excited to see him in here. I hope he does well. And Francesco Akira, I don't know if that's the same. Let me see if this is the same Akira that I think it is. I could be completely wrong. So excuse me while I'm Googling.
You're Googling. I will let's see.
Because I meant we got this list like literally right before
we woke up to it, and our friends were all like, do you want to be spoiled? Here's the spoilers. It's Best of Super Juniors. Let's be real. We haven't had a real one in a while, so it was pretty exciting, and we were looking forward to seeing this.
Okay. Oh, well, if I had watched Hyper Battle, I would know this. So,
well, shame on you for missing.
Yeah, he debuted.
An hour.
This is not who I thought it was, and he debuted at Hyper Battle, and he joined United Empire.
Okay, so there's some United Empire stuff going on here. Mm-hmm. There's a tiny little, bit of Get Your Bullet Club in there. I think, is it Show that joined the Bullet Club? Or yeah, I think so.
Well, ELP's in it.
Well, of course.
So I'm trying to scan through this real quick.
Amaru is there. We're wrapping this up. Yo is also included.
What we knew, obviously, that where Yo is, Show follows. Oh, they're in the same block. I didn't even realize. I thought they were. They are in the same block.
They're in the same block. Anything could happen.
Yes. So this says that Akira is best known for his run in All Japan Pro Wrestling,
Mm.
winning the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, and he won last year's Junior Battle of Glory tournament. And he last wrestled for the company in September of last year, and then he has since been in Europe, including Rev Pro.
Oh, Rev Pro seems to be one of the
Right.
big
And CCK is, I
excursions.
mean, well, not CCK, but Aussie Open, who is also
Oh,
in
yeah,
United
okay.
Empire, is from Rev Pro.
Okay.
So that would make sense that they got some Rev Pro people
I
in
know
there. And then obviously,
OGP got a lot of bookings because Rev Pro was booking a bunch of the guys like that.
yeah,
Those guys got to see shoot. I can't. He's not Shota anymore. He's Shooter.
he's
He's a
Shooter. He will
big boy
always
now.
be Shooter. I
He
don't
is a
care.
big boy.
He is a big boy.
I'm just so excited for where he goes, but
Me too.
that's a different conversation.
so so I guess that's our New Japan talk for this week. So we're obviously very excited for BOSJ. I don't know how much Strong we'll be watching while BOSJ is going on. We'll see how
We'll
that
do
works
our
out.
best.
We'll do, but Strong, like I said, Strong is good and it's important and it deserves your attention, even during BOSJ. There are hour shows. There's 3 matches, so go
Yeah,
watch
yesterday, I
it.
mean, the one from last night, that was just a matter of my body deciding that it needed to go to sleep when it
Yeah, I feel
did.
you.
Other than that, I was like right into it and was watching. So it's really, I was like, oh, wow, there's only 3 matches on this. That's why I thought I could make it through.
Yeah.
So.
I was watching, but I was sidetracked about other things, and I was out running errands, and so I got home later than expected, so I ended up watching Defy first and watching Strong after, and so by that time it was like 2:00, and so
I didn't have a streaming service that was giving it away. Because I know a lot of the people watching the Defy show were able to do so because
of Pluto TV, which I have never used before. Like, I've heard about it, but I've just never looked into it. And so apparently you can download it as an app, which is, I have like in my living room, I have like the old Roku, like the plug-in thing. And so I found Pluto through that, but then I also have a Roku TV, and I think you can just download it directly to that, which and then
I'm sure there's an app on my TV that it will, allow me to do it. But
and you may also be able to watch Pluto TV online. I think, I'm not positive, but I would assume yes. So they, thanks to the Fight Game Media guys, I found out that we could watch Defy for free because I missed it, and then like I sent it to my friends, and they're like, I missed it too. So we were all like in the dark about it. And then it was funny because there were people in Fight Game Media that were on Twitter and they were watching it, and then some of my Daily DDT people were also watching it. So that was cool. And I was like I was in the Daily DDT Slack, some talking about it, and then there were people on Twitter talking about it, and so it was fun. So
that's nice. It's always fun to watch with people.
It was kind of, because it's weird because usually when we all watch stuff like that, it's either like, Dynamite or something like that, or it's, New Japan or something like that. So it was cool that we were all just kind of watching this indie show together, all because of Jon Moxley, obviously. That's why we were all watching. But yeah, so it ended up being, I believe this was Defy's very first time using Pluto, and I know the show was sold out last night, and I guess this is something they wanted to try. This was definitely a good show to do that, because Defy, obviously, for people who aren't familiar, they have a reputation for just putting on really awesome shows, and things like that. So it was cool because
I'm always excited for anything from Seattle because it's a town that I love so much.
Right.
And so for me, it's like, I'm so mad. We did like almost everything that happened, like all kinds of fun stuff started happening within like 3 years after we left.
Of course.
And it was like, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl and that was like, but Defy and, started to really build up a following and became like a real like wrestling thing. And I mean, there were all these like little things and I'm like, and then I'm like, but I'm still rooting for you, Seattle. So I just love it. And Jim Valley is doing stuff for backstage, which
he had a little thing last night that he did after I think it was the match with Shaft and Timothy Thatcher. I think he came out and did a nice little quick thing. But yeah, so it was cool. I missed the first few minutes because I was trying to download the app, which I didn't do before I went, because I didn't think my errands were going to take me as long as they did. And so I didn't think
adulting needs to get its shit together and stop bothering you while you're trying to watch wrestling.
I know. So it took me a few minutes to download it, and then it kicked me out a couple times, and then it was just this big whole thing. So I missed the first few minutes, but the opening match, which I'll talk about the card, but this match, obviously, just because of the people who were in it. So it was Swerve, Nick Wayne, and Adam Brooks versus Christopher Daniel and Midnight Heat. Midnight Heat is not anybody that I'm familiar with, but I believe that's one of their big tag teams.
Maybe they're like one of the regular on their roster.
Yeah, I believe so. So this was a really good match. Obviously Swerve and Nick Wayne don't necessarily see eye to eye. They've wrestled each other before, but there's the cool thing. I retweeted, of course, because I love the GIFs. I retweeted the GIF of it last night from Hokey had it, and I will retweet it under the Powerbombshells one, because Swerve, Wayne, and Brooks did dives in stereo up over, and it was into the audience. I mean, it was on their opponents, but it was into the crowd. So it was really cool. Adam Brooks had a really awesome swinging DDT that he did over the rope. It was insane, all the stuff that they were doing. And then there was a sunset into a Russian knee sweep that Midnight Heat did. So they got in their cool spots. And so then towards the end, we see so Swerve is in the ring. He's against Christopher Daniels, and Nick Wayne tagged himself in. So that obviously did not go well. And Swerve was very mad about that. And so Daniels was trying to use that against him. And then Wayne went for a big boot, and Daniels moved out of the way, and he kicked Swerve instead. And then Wayne ended up being the one to pin Christopher Daniels. Nick Wayne pinned Christopher Daniels.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Christopher Daniels, I believe, is their current champion, if I was following correctly.
I am gonna enjoy seeing that guy turn into a big boy wrestler a lot. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and so Swerve was even though their team got the win, Swerve was pissed because Wayne took it upon himself to tag himself in, and then he kicked him by mistake, and even though he got the win, he went against the veteran, and you don't, and in DEFY, which is Swerve's house, and so it was very interesting to see. And so I believe they were talking about, I don't know how soon, but it sounds like Nick Wayne will in the future be getting a title shot maybe at Christopher Daniels, but on their very next show, which I don't know if it'll be available, where it will be available, Nick Wayne is wrestling Dante Martin. Ooh. That's as far as I know, that's the only match announced for that show, and that is enough to sell me on that show.
Wow, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. So after that was Kevin Blackwood versus Big Damo. Big Damo was Killian in WWE and is been doing some indie stuff. That was a good match. Big Damo looked really good. Then there was a women's match, and it was the one thing that I had an issue with was they would pop the names up really fast, and then it would go away, and then they'd pop it up again. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't follow them closely, so I don't know who either of these women are. And so I believe I got their names. There was one, her name is Kikyo, or I don't know if it's pronounced Kikyo, is Kikyo. The Fallen Flower, I believe is her name. Okay. And then the champion for them is Danica Della Rouge. And she came out and looked awesome. She had these fairy wings on, but they had LED lights around them, and it came cool. all the way down her back. And then she's in just t-shirt and shorts and ripped up shorts and stuff. And then she put on these glasses. They look kind of the ELP glasses that he wears that have the lights. And it also reminded me of DJZ. Is kind of the vibe that she had going on. And so Miley decided she needed to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
So I didn't get to see any of the women's match, which also showed I was only outside for maybe 5 or 6 minutes because Miley wanted to stroll too. I was like, can you just come on? So the women, obviously they got maybe 5 or 6 minutes because I came in like right after the match had ended, like they were walking away, but my sister watched it. She said it was good. So I'm glad to hear.
It's doing it.
I heard. Okay. All right. Hopefully it will stay on its best behavior and not do that buzzing thing. And I apologize for that.
We have a little bit of a heel microphone on Sam's end that likes to try and mess up everything.
Yeah, so if you've watched, you know that this thing falls over all the time. Well, today it's doing some buzzing crap, and I thought I was gonna have to hold this hold the microphone and talk to you guys, and like I was on a telephone.
And then we were gonna make fun of it the entire time.
Yeah, and so we started recording late because I was trying to get the mic was going hill and doing whatever it wanted to.
No worries. We are hoping to get Minoru Suzuki on this immediately.
Yes, definitely. Let's do that. So the next after that was Timothy Thatcher versus Shaft. That was pretty good. I know the fans really love them some Shaft, which is like one of their Defy's big dudes, or like one of the famous. He won with the torture rack, which was interesting. Then the next match was Miggs with Ethan HD. So we've heard us talk about him. He was on, I think, like one of the first episodes of Strong that we started watching again. Ethan HD was on. So he came out with Miggs versus ELP. This was a pretty solid match. And what was interesting was all of us. So Ethan HD's like on the side, obviously hyping up Miggs, doing his job as a friend. Well, all of a sudden, Ethan HD rips his shirt off and he's wearing a Bullet Club shirt. And everybody's like, and he kicks Miggs, and like it seemed like the crowd is like losing it. They're like, why is Ethan HD turning on him? What is happening? And I'm like, is Bullet Club getting another member? Like we just added Scott Norton 3 weeks ago. What are you doing?
People have I think the problem with Bullet Club is that they're infecting every freaking promotion. It's not that there's more, they're getting everywhere. They're weaseling their little shenanigans into everything. There aren't enough Red Shoes Unos out there to flip them off.
No, there's not. And so
Aubrey's gonna have to start.
Oh God, yeah, she's gonna have to get some tips from him because so it ended up actually being a swerve of a swerve because Ethan HD really was not turning on Miggs. They were faking out ELP so that Miggs could get the win. So it was really cool. And so I tweeted, I was like, that was a swerve of a swerve. And we were joking about it in the Daily DDT Slack. And I was like, I said that swerve was wearing a salmon colored jacket. So Bullet Club is not adding another member. They got ELP got, and it was fun. So,
and the fans where ELP takes a little of his own medicine is worth
exactly.
seeing.
Yes. So the next match was the Bollywood Boys versus C4. So Bollywood Boys, if you watched 205 Live, you were familiar with them. They were with 205 Live from the beginning all the way up until they were released last year. I enjoyed because I used to cover I watched 205 Live anyway because I love a lot of those guys that were there, and it had some of the best wrestling. Like I will die on the hill that at one point.
Cruiserweight wrestling.
Yeah,
I'm with you. We watched. So
yeah, 205 Live at one point had the best storytelling, the best matches, the best continuity, and all of WWE for a long time. And so that's a hill I will die on. I love.
We went to a SmackDown show back when they were filming them on the SmackDown shows at the Little Caesars Arena. And I was like, no, we need to be there though. We need to stay for the 205 Live show, and we need to be loud. We need to do all this stuff.
Yeah, we were like my sister and I were like way up in the nosebleeds because we were broke, and that's where we ended up sitting. And so we were like yelling. We were like doing. And they were like, they can't hear you. I'm like, well, considering that most of the people left for 205 Live, they probably can hear.
They can hear us, so shut up.
And I don't care because they were there. I think the dark match was supposed to be like AJ Styles, and I don't remember who it was. And I don't think it ended up not being AJ. I can't remember. But so that's what those fans were staying for, and they were pissed that they had to stay for 205 Live. And I was like, you will respect them and shut your damn mouth.
Yep. We were the same way. We were very much
so this was a really good match, and the crowd was super into it, and Bollywood Boys, I mean, we were talking about it in Slack about how they would be stars anywhere else, but because they're smaller, Vince obviously just didn't want to put any effort into them.
Matter.
No, they don't, which is sad because they especially because Bollywood Boys also did a lot of the gimmicky like cheating stuff, but they were good. The match last night was really good, and Bollywood Boys are now the tag team champions at DEFY. So that was cool to see. And then our main event was Jon Moxley versus Filthy Tom Lawlor.
I've never heard of these guys before.
No, I guess there's some local guys to DEFY. I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
They're definitely not the reason I was like, I'm watching this free show at 11 p.m.
How was the match?
It was great. So first,
I'm gonna have to dig out a copy.
Filthy Tom comes out in the gear that we all love, the vest and the shorts and the boots. He came out, what made it even better, he came out to Hangin' Tough by New Kids on the Block. So I was dying. Then he gets in the ring, does the little like Ric Flair strut, but then he did a little bit of the New Kids dance where he had the hand like this, and he did it like, he only did it for like 5 seconds, but it was everything.
That's like the biggest disappointment. Maybe he's a heavyweight. Can he be a heavyweight? Can he be the G1?
God, I know. Because I was, oh God. So I don't see Tom a lot on the indies, so I don't know if this is a regular thing for him to come out to Hangin' Tough, but I thoroughly enjoyed it because I was like, is that New Kids on the Block? And I was like, Nikki, listen. And she was like, oh no, I hear it.
That's amazing. That guy is like, gosh, he is living his best.
He is.
Tom Lawlor life.
It was so great. And then of course here comes Mox with Wild Thing, and then the stream cut out. So I was telling Mel, a lot of people were having issues with the stream last night. So we don't know if it was the venue thing or if it was a Pluto thing. Like if Pluto wasn't used to handling this many, a whole bunch of people at one time, because it seems like a lot of people tuned in to see the show. And so I don't know which issue it was. And so there were issues. It wasn't quite as bad as Windy City Riot, but there were some blackouts. And like every time they went to show a video package, the screen would go black. And so I don't think it was a rights issue. I think they were just, I don't know if maybe it was, I don't know.
Probably. I mean, if it's like, if you don't know what you're doing, a lot of times it's like you're using the channel you need to be using to show people the thing.
Right. Yeah. So it very well could be that. So it did cut out during Mox's entrance. And I was like, you're kind of killing the vibe, because like you need, especially after the presentation we just had from Tom Lawlor, like I need the whole, like, I know I just saw this on Wednesday night, but I need to see it's Jon Moxley, like builds up. And it's I guess AEW Jon Moxley, because he's coming out to that song, because obviously when we see him in like GCW and in the indies, he comes out to different stuff, and so it's like a different vibe for him. But so the match itself was really fantastic. It was a bloody mess. Like there was a lot of blood.
Wow.
Tom Lawlor did what did he do? He did something on the outside on the wooden floor, and I saw Mox talk to the ref, and then the ref went and talked to Tom Lawlor, and then they cut back to Mox, and he's just busted open. I'm not sure if he bladed there or if he actually was like busted open, and he's like, maybe he were making sure he didn't have a concussion from hitting the floor.
Yeah.
So John was bleeding. Tom was like, okay, I'm gonna make you bleed even more. And it was like biting him, which is the Moxley thing. I was like, we're still in COVID times. Please don't do that. It's gross anyway, but now we're still in COVID times. Please.
Well, I guess if you're bleeding on each other.
Yeah. So then, and so Tom was like giving him knee strikes to make him bleed more. So Tom is like covered in Moxley's blood. Well, then Lawlor, his face is just covered, like even more than Mox's. Like it's just straight crimson mask. Like it was Tom swiped his hair away and there was just a big white mark because of all of the blood on his face. And then Mox was covered in like his back was covered in Tom's blood. Like it was like the canvas was insane. Like it was
really good thing that was the main event.
Yeah, because it was really bloody. It was a very good match. It was even like I knew it was going to be good, but it was even more awesome than I could have expected. And the fans were really into it. And then afterwards, so Jon Moxley won with Paradigm Shift. And he, no, I take that back. He did the Paradigm Shift and Tom Lawlor kicked out of the Paradigm Shift. Then he went for Death Rider, and that's what he beat him with. Death Rider. That's what it was. So afterwards, they get
he beat him with his Japanese character.
Yes, did. So
interesting.
Like, so that could come back later. So Mox was like, he gets on the mic, and the mic was kind of hard to hear, but it's also because John was like talking on top of the microphone, and I'm like, hold on. Well,
and he had blood all over.
Yes, so it was a little muffled, but he was just talking about how he loves doing this for you guys, for the fans, and he's like super, like basically just like I'm living my best life, and I love doing it for you guys. Tom, he said I wanted this match because I wanted to see who the filthiest was, and he said Tom Lawlor is the filthiest, nastiest son of a bitch I've ever been in the ring with. Nice. And he was like, I want to do it again anywhere you want. Then he was talking about the Defy crowd, and he said, you are a friend of AEW, which I guess means we're going to see more AEW Defy things is where it was going. Then he mentioned the American Dragon, and the place went nuts. So apparently
that's home
yeah, too, yes, exactly. So it sounds like Bryan Danielson is going to be heading to Defy, but then it was kind of hard to hear parts of it just because of the way John was talking. And so Josiah, he writes for Daily DDT, but is also in the Fight Game Media stuff. But Josiah said, he said that he was like, Danielson's going to be mad at me because I guess Danielson didn't know. And Mox just offered him up for a match, I guess. I don't know exactly what was going on there. I get Mox doing Mox things. So I really hope that they will put this whenever Danielson comes. I hope they put it on Pluto because everybody needs to see it or find a way. Because I believe that Josiah said
meltdown.
Yeah.
He can't have been back there on that level forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Josiah said that Defy is on IWTV usually, and sometimes they have pay-per-views. But I think so. I don't know if this will be, a Pluto thing. It would be huge, but they're going to have to make sure they can handle a whole bunch of people tuning in to watch because it was insane. But yeah, it was a really good show overall, especially because it was our free show. Like these people just went, I guess, because they were all, not that they wouldn't have anyway, because it sounds like Defy always has really good shows, but it seems like, I guess, because they were showing themselves to a bigger audience because they were doing it for free. Like they did an excellent job showcasing what it is that they do. So
they wanted to present themselves as this is how cool and whatever.
Right.
I mean, that's we're friends. I think it's important. I think a little bit that where Windy City Riot actually missed the boat on that. The New Japan North America or however, because they did have some of those issues and they kind of didn't feel like they cared. And they didn't seem like, not that they didn't care. I think that's a little unfair, but there wasn't as much thought put into it. And meanwhile, that's great because it's like they know that they may not get one of those times where everyone's going to turn and look over this way.
Right.
Although, if you're talking about bringing Bryan Danielson back to the Pacific Northwest, you're asking for. They might have to find someplace other than Washington Hall, from what I've heard about the size.
And so it was packed to the gills last night. So I can only
that place sounds like Brian Alvarez. I don't know if you're a watcher or listener to the Observer stuff much, but Brian Alvarez is obviously from that area, and he talks about Washington Hall. I'm like, that sounds so exciting.
Yeah. Who did I see tweet about it last night? And they were like, Washington Hall was everything that I expected. And I can't remember.
Sounds like a fun venue.
I don't think it was Nick Wayne that said that because he's wrestled there before. Who was it? Now I can't remember, but I saw somebody like within minutes of their match ending, they were like tweeting about the venue. So that tells you, what they're looking at. So yeah, so hopefully, DEFY.
Sometimes they become part of the thing.
Yeah, well,
they
and it's
really do. The building becomes part of the whole deal.
And they did say that the crowd is called Defiance. I guess just because of how they are also part of it, kind of like the 12th man. That so it's basically that, but for DEFY, and so they're called, the crowd themselves is called Defiance, which I thought was
pretty
really cool. Not AEW Galaxy. Is
that really out there?
No, Dad.
Oh, that's right. That was a fun.
Daddy Magic, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. No,
and it made me laugh. I was like,
AEW Galaxy. That's right. That was a sports entertainer. You're right.
It was. Yes. So, I guess we'll shift gears a little bit away from that, and we will shift gears into some comments from Becky Lynch that was made in the I think it was Drew Garabo. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. It was cut of the day, and Lynch was asked the question about AEW, and her response may have been in character. It may have been a little bit of both, where it's a little bit of realness and a little bit of kayfabe type of thing. But we're still going to comment on it, even if it was in character, because
you never give me a good way to stick these things. Where we can look. Actually, here, let's get this. Do you need this to read?
No, I can pull it over here. I've got it here too.
Awesome. I'll pop it up again for people to read in a second. So.
Okay, so Becky said, so she was asked about the AEW women's division and the competition. So she said, her response was, I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately, I don't think they are represented the way we are. They don't get as much time as we get, and frankly, they're not as good as we are. Then she said, we have certainly on Raw, we have the best women's division in the world. I say that without any hesitation in my voice. We have the best women's division in the world. Competition is great, and it's great for there to be another place. And I have a very good friend, Ruby Soho, over there, and I would love to see her as champion one day. I would love to see her get the spotlight she deserves. Competition is always great. Over here, we're on another level. End quote.
We can be on either side of it now. There's Becky Lynch's thingy. Okay, so Sam read it to everybody, and it doesn't matter because it's stupid. And no, I'm sorry.
Well, when I first read it, I was like, well, of course she's gonna say that.
Of course,
it's her job. She's not gonna say AEW is better.
No, they're way better than us. And
what is she gonna say? Because I was like, I mean, and this is the same kind of pot stirring that Seth Rollins has done this before. Mm-hmm. He's made comments, and the timing is because AEW and New Japan are the talk of the wrestling world because they have a forbidden door. Mm-hmm. So they're sticking their foot in there, which is what they do. AEW has done similar things. It's the wrestling business. It's not unexpected. So the first thing was just like, well, of course she's going to say that. Second of all, she's wrong.
I just wanted to get the knee-jerk.
I want to say they're both. Go ahead.
I wanted to get the knee-jerk that's stupid out of the way because that's unproductive, and I'm not, I figured I'd get the unproductive shit out of the way before we actually had a real conversation about the fact that
so another thing that I said, obviously, so I tweeted about it when I saw the comment, and I was like, obviously it's her job, so of course she's going to say that. Let's get that out of the way. Right. Secondly, for me personally, if most of you know, I record women's matches, and I've been doing that for a year and a half now. I stopped timing WWE women's matches in October because the matches were terrible. The storylines sucked. Only a few women were involved, and they were getting short matches times. They were starting matches in commercial breaks, so it fucked up my. Sorry, screwed up. It screwed up my timing because I would have to, and so I'd have to write in the tweet, match started during commercial. So this is how long the match actually got, like it that we saw on TV, and that happened frequently. then they would have women leave the mat, like they could just leave the ring, and the match would just end because the woman, somebody would just leave. And I was like, this is stupid. And this was happening even before October. I was trying to get to October because that was the 1 year mark of me timing matches for AEW, Impact, and WWE. And so, but I was like wanting to give up back in like June. I was like, I can't handle this. And at this point, I was DVRing Raw and SmackDown and would only watch the women's matches and then maybe a couple other things I cared about, which wasn't much at this point. And my sister was like, can we please stop watching? And I was like, no, I have to get to October. I'm determined to get to the 1 year mark. And then when October comes, I'm out with WWE. I know it probably, I was like, for people who actually, because I have a few people that follow me who are wrestling historians, and they're like, it's important to have the whole picture. But that was like, on the other hand, I'm not forcing myself to watch something I don't like. So I don't watch WWE at all. I've watched a few things here and there, but I don't go out of my way to watch it, and probably will not for a while. So I was like, so that right there for me personally, that tells me that Becky is wrong because I couldn't stand it. And I wrote, because of everything that was happening before I even stopped timing matches, I had written an article for Daily DDT talking about how Raw's women's division was abysmal. I mean, SmackDown was not, at the time, was not much better, but Raw was unwatchable. Like it was, and it should have been better because they brought Charlotte back, and they had all this stuff, and then and I listen, and I even said this in my follow-up tweet. AEW has a lot to work on with a women's match. I have had this conversation, and like I said, frankly, I'm tired of having this conversation because I've been having this conversation for 2 years. There's a lot of work that AEW can do, but there's a lot of work that WWE can do. Impact's got stuff that they can do. They all can improve with the women's division. That bottom line, they all need to do stuff. Nobody is better than the other. Like, there's not just one division who stands out. Sure, there are women who stand out. There are matches who stand out. And there's a lot, and there are positive things across all three companies. But to sit here and say that that's the best division when I've watched that division is a lie. I mean, maybe. And so I asked, I was like, because I was talking to a friend of mine who does still watch regularly. And I said, has it gotten better? Like, and he said, no. He was like, the matches are not that great. He was like, they had a women's tag match. And he said it was less than 10 minutes. They went on commercial break through a good portion of it. And he was like, and he was like, and this was last Monday. So right. I don't know I can't remember what day the comments came out. Might have been the following day. I can't remember. And then it also came out after that Friday's episode of SmackDown had 0 women's matches.
Of course it did.
So
because of course.
Yeah. So I was like, I like I said, I get what Becky's doing. She's doing her job.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she's going to promote it. Maybe even if she was in character, and then, it's just because I think another reason it's so touchy is because the women's divisions in both of these companies have been a huge subject of how the companies handle them. And so it just I was like, she just has no room to talk, considering what I was watching when I was still watching. That division was terrible.
You wrote an article that I read. It was one of the first articles that I read of yours that was about the way that they took people like Becky and Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley, and they made them into this big megastar situation. And they had this thing going where they could have used those women to build a foundation for a women's division, the women's division that Becky would actually be talking about.
Right.
If people like Becky and Charlotte and other people, we don't know. I mean, this isn't all up to them. We don't know. But if they were to do the work that you see going on it's more in the men's, obviously, because you see it more in the men's. But I mean, there was fights basically between Kenny and the Bucks and people like that they wanted to lose all the time and get these other guys over.
Right.
Which is the counter argument to this, where it was well, I'm over and I'm happy to do that. And I'm not really going to And maybe they couldn't. Charlotte could.
Yes.
Let's not sit here and pretend for
Right.
1 second. Like, I don't care who you are or whatever. Like, if Charlotte had wanted to use being Charlotte to get all the other women in WWE over, she could do it. She could do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
If she wanted to.
I agree.
Yeah. Come at me.
I'm
sorry, but it's
yeah, and then
Becky, maybe not, or any of those other women. But in terms of you want to talk about someone who has the ability to actually help build the make-believe women's division that we're talking about here, then that would be great, because that would be it would force a new discussion or a better discussion by the other wrestling companies that have women's divisions.
Agree.
But they didn't do that. And I loved how you made the point of that's not what they did. They took that and they made it into what it is today. And they made this division. And we all know this is a business and that there's the business aspect of it. And she's being the company lady, just like her husband's the company man.
Right, exactly.
Fine. And I love that. But it's patently false.
It is. And another thing I was pointing out, because somebody in the DDT Slack was like, well, she's right. I was like, no, she isn't, because he was talking about how they have more star power. And I was like, well, star power doesn't mean shit if you can't book it right. And if you can't book the other women to be they don't have to, like in the article, like they don't, I'm not saying they have to surpass the 4 horsewomen. And I'm not saying the 4 horsewomen, like in the article, I wanted to make the point, they work their asses off to get where they are. Like, I applaud them. I like the 4 horsewomen. They have done amazing things.
And that comes through in the article also. Yeah. And like a big burial. It was actually, it was more like a big, like, bummer.
Yeah. Cause I was like, so they did all of these things and then they stopped. Like, you could, like, they got to this, they're like, this is the threshold. And so then they could have pushed, like, obviously Bianca is a star and that is undeniable. No matter how WWE books her, she is phenomenal. And right now they are giving her, they're giving her that moment. But before that, I mean, she lost her title in 26 seconds. You didn't have to turn Becky. You didn't have to do that to turn Becky heel. You did not have to punish Bianca to do what they did for Becky. Then they had, I know some of it was injury, but Asuka was off until last Monday. Asuka had not been on TV since last July. And a lot of it was after she healed, she was just sitting and catering because they had nothing for her. How do you not have anything for Asuka?
For Asuka.
And they don't. And then we'll look, and we even say the way they booked Asuka, because in NXT, she was dominant. She didn't lose for over 500 days.
Right.
And then she gets to the main roster and they treat her just like somebody else. They just like, they erased everything that they did for her. Then you see, okay, well, maybe Rhea Ripley, she was big at NXT. She had the fans behind her. She won the title. It was really cool. Then they get her to the main roster and she loses to Charlotte in WrestleMania. And they don't, Rhea's basically been clawing ever since to kind of rebuild what she had. We had Alexa in a storyline for 2 years. And then obviously I know the Bray stuff kind of changed what they were doing, but instead of pivoting, they let her continue to do it. We didn't know what the point is. And then now she's not on TV. From what I understand, I believe she hasn't been on TV in like 3 months, like not even in her hometown. And she keeps tweeting and she's just like, I don't know. She was like, I don't know. And so like you have people who are capable, and no, maybe they aren't on the level of, maybe they never will be on the level of Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch, but you can elevate them to be even better. And then you have women like Carmella, and you have Zelina, and you have all these women that you can utilize and try to bring them up and bring the division up with them. And they're holding them down. And so then the division just stalls out. And so it's the same people. And then people get mad because Charlotte has had 25 titles and like she's constantly doing stuff. And people, when I wrote that article, people got mad at me because I included Sasha, and I was like, Sasha's in the 4 horsewomen. Like, don't. Yes, they have screwed her over at times. Yes, they could have done more with her, but she is still in the 4 horsewomen, and that is my point. She is in that. So obviously, yeah, if you're looking at the 4 horsewomen, Charlotte is probably technically above all of them. Then it's Becky. And then it goes back and forth between Sasha and Bayley, depending on who's there and whatever, which still is not, that in itself is not right either. But Sasha still gets more opportunities than a lot of these other women do because she was in the Four Horsewomen, and she deserves those things. And I'm not saying she doesn't, but yeah. And so most of the feedback I got from that article was people mad at me because I included Sasha. I was like, she's literally in the Four Horsewomen, people. So that I was like, that's your takeaway from this article.
The idea, guys, was that they weren't using these people to build new talent, future talent, and a wider base.
And
for
so
their women's division.
Their takeaway from the article was that Sasha.
You hate Sasha?
Yeah, I guess. I was like, okay.
Why do you hate Sasha, Sam?
Because the internet says
what's wrong with you.
Yeah, so it was just, but yeah, so I just the women, they all have things they could be doing better. WWE, I mean AEW still has a ton of okay. Almost made it through this whole show without me having to talk like I'm on a telethon. Can we get it together?
Okay, maybe we got the Hill microphone going again. It's
me. It thinks I don't like
Hill microphone. Right. Hill microphone. Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna hold on to it and we'll see.
That microphone and I are gonna have
I was like
a showdown at the pre-show of Double or Nothing.
Let's do it, because I've only had this thing since November and it tries me every time I try to use it, and now it's gotten worse. I'm gonna end up having to I think I'm gonna have to get mask and tape and circle around this button.
Duct tape.
Yeah, probably gonna have to. Yeah, so we won't show that Michael on screen. Yeah, no. So that we appear to be somewhat professional. But yeah, so yeah.
I think that to put a pin in this, as they say in the fancy pants world, it's not better.
No.
And there's a lot better things going on in women's wrestling.
Yeah.
A lot of
and
places.
I don't, and even how I saw the tweet was because somebody quote tweeted the tweet, somebody I don't follow, and they said that they were just going to be over here watching Impact. Well, I saw it because somebody retweeted Dave Meltzer, because Meltzer quote tweeted that person and said Stardom is the best women's wrestling in the world. Well, that's how I saw it.
Be that as it may, and I'm sure, there's no arguing with the Joshi and the Stardom.
Yeah, I haven't. And Stardom is one thing that I need to get on board with.
I would love it. I know I would love it.
Me too.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same boat. But what I have seen of it and what I have heard about it, that is probably a correct statement, just based on and from other people who I'm friends with who do watch it, they are like, yeah, nothing can touch Stardom.
Yeah, people I respect that I would actually listen to about it.
Yes. So I guess that, unless there's anything you want to add about that comment. I will transition quickly into, so speaking of women's wrestling and staying on that topic, we know that Maria Kanellis Bennett has been doing a lot with women's wrestling, especially with Ring of Honor. She actually, when Ring of Honor was purchased by AEW, she tweeted Tony and was like, let me help you. And I was like, please take her up on that offer, because you need all the help you can get. Maria and she operates in 2022. She knows what needs to happen. I don't know if they have had any talks, but she and Bobby Cruz, who is the ring announcer for Ring of Honor, have a new women's project called Women's Wrestling Army, which you see right there. They're
working.
The very first show is today at 3 p.m. It is going to be on IWTV. They partnered with another wrestling promotion who I can't remember off the top of my head. So they're doing a double. So people who got to go to the show, who were there at the show live, they're getting a double show today. And so the Women's Wrestling Army, it sounds really cool. She had a really cool video that she put out. It sounds really exciting. And they've got some really cool people involved with it. So anyway, so when I saw it, I was like, okay, this sounds cool. I want to check this out. I'm all for, more women's wrestling. And then I found out Trisha Dora was involved, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
Trisha Dora, who did not get a very nice, I was mad at the Trisha Dora and Nightingale cluster that
Me
was.
too. Like, I get the point.
I know.
They're putting over,
and
like,
she's
so I
on
get
the
it.
TV, and I get all of those things.
Right, I do
It just
too, but
made me mad. I think it was some of it might have been my personal preference because I'm excited about new wrestlers and stuff like
right.
that.
Yeah, and then
But
it was just like I look
I was a
again,
little grumpy.
I get putting Jade and Team Baddie over and doing it in a dominant fashion. But then it goes back to the argument of that was a match that lasted 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So again, the women, they're not helping the argument that Becky has about the division when you're having a 3-minute match on Rampage and you're having it with a caliber of talent that was across from them with Trish Adora, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. But like I said, I get the point. Nobody needs to mansplain to me in the tweets because somebody tried to mansplain to me in the tweets and I just didn't respond.
Really? Okay,
It's like I know why.
I get it. I know why.
I've been watching wrestling for a very long time. Like, I get it. I'm still disappointed.
And it's important that she was put in the thingy with. I get it. I get it.
I was like,
I don't know, Sam. You didn't. You only watched like 21 hours of wrestling on one weekend. I don't think you get it.
I don't understand.
What's wrong with you?
So, besides Trish, Willow Nightingale is also involved in the women's wrestling army. Holodead is included. Let's see, who else did I see? Taya Valkyrie is involved. Janai Kai is involved. They have Lenny Leonard on commentary along with Alyssa Marino. Alyssa is an up-and-coming women's announcer, which is really cool. Lenny Leonard has also, obviously, he's been a huge supporter of women's wrestling. Tasha Steeles is involved. The Hex, which is Marty Bell and Allison Kay. So yeah, they have like a really strong
Allison Kay. I have one of my favorite hoodies I bought from AK. She's cool.
Yeah. So this is really cool. Like, I don't know. So they're calling it a project. So it's not actually like, I guess it's not like Mission Pro where it's because, Mission Pro is kind of its own thing, their own little promotion. So I don't know exactly. So it just seems like it's something cool that they're doing. I just obviously want to support women's wrestling. Again, like I said, it will be on IWTV today at 3:00. So I will hopefully get to watch it live because we're getting close to that time. But even if I don't watch it, I will because I still have to watch Don Taku. But I will definitely watch it, and we will probably talk about it on next week's episode. I know that, and also with next week's episode, PWX announced a last minute show last week, and so next Saturday they are doing Lucha Libre before. So Charlotte has a soccer team now, the Charlotte FC. And they have a home game next Saturday night. So during the day, PWX is doing a wrestling show. That will be really cool. And so I am not a morning person, so I'm gonna have to get up and do makeup and leave and go be at wrestling for doors are at 10 a.m. and the show starts at 11. The matches were announced this week and they're really cool, but Bandito is the main event with Anthony Henry.
Oh, nice. Okay, we have to go now.
Yeah. So, because I saw Bandito and I was like, cool. And then
I'll be calling your ass at 10 o'clock. Like, get the heck up.
Girl. Yeah, I will be there. My friends and I we've all bought our tickets. It's kind of like a standing room only thing. There's like access. I know there's gonna be like a food truck is gonna be there. There's access to a bar. Yeah, because I joked like as soon as I saw that it was 11 o'clock, I was like, they better be serving mimosas if I'm watching wrestling at 11 a.m.
I was just gonna say the thing we used to do before stuff like that is like before like Seahawks games and stuff is we'd hit our favorite diner and like just go get like bulked up for it because it was like you eat the big breakfast and then you're fine for hours and you don't have to worry about it.
So this show I think is like from 11 to 2:30 is what they're saying, something like that. And so Gringo Loco is on this card. So Gringo Loco from GCW.
Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, this is a day before, so it's next up. Yeah, so it's Lindsay Dorado is who Gringo Loco is facing. Who else is on this card? I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a women's match. Angelica Risk, who has been on Dark and Elevation, she is wrestling Brittany Jade, who was just on Elevation like 2 or 3 weeks ago. She had like a 3-minute match, of course, but she is on there. So there is a women's match.
Quite the famous lady on our network, though, for being the lady that, because they're always like, your co-host, she is, and I'm like, well, then I guess you guys all need to follow her, and why are you not putting her follow thing up on?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm excited about a women's match. So yeah, that'll be really fun. So we'll talk about that next week. We're trying to figure out when we're gonna record, because next Monday is Mother's Day. So but I'm also probably gonna come home and take a nap. Actually, I'm probably going to shower first, because it's going to be like, it's supposed to start out cloudy, which I'm hoping means it won't be too hot, but it's also the South. So I'm probably going to come home and take a shower first, and then eat lunch and probably take a nap, and then maybe we'll figure it out. There will be an episode 11 next week.
There will be an episode. If it's a day behind, it's a day behind.
We'll get there.
If, we're a little off on our Rampage talk, it's because we didn't do it that exact day. But you can always follow Sam right at that thingy there, and she does the Rampage wrap up, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah, I do. I do those, and I did a Dynamite one for Josiah, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before. Which Dynamite is a lot. There's a lot of action in 2 hours, and when you're having to type it out, it's a lot. But I'm not 100% positive, but so Chris Doc Muller from Bleacher Report we follow each other, and he happened to retweet the Rampage recap, and then a few minutes later Cody Rhodes followed me back, and so I don't know if he saw it, or if he maybe he recognized my name from media calls, or I doubt it. It's probably not from where I met him when he came to PWX before I was even doing writing things. But yeah, I gotta be on my best behavior now. Because Cody Rhodes follows me, and he's like, God, he's probably like, God, this girl tweets about baseball a lot, and she times women's matches.
My siren that is local has decided to go off.
Steiner here. It is I did see before this the 14th anniversary of the math promo.
Nice. They're doing like anniversaries for that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Garrett Kidney tweeted it that it was the 14th anniversary of the math promo, and I was like, this is still one of my favorite promos ever. I love that damn promo. But what I was gonna get to was I found out last week that GCW was coming to Charlotte finally for the first time ever. August the 19th, they're coming. I'm so excited. I was like,
so you're next.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't even care who's on the card. I'm going. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do front row, just because I'm not, matches are not my jam. So I think Matthew is gonna try to get it, and one of my other friends was like, I'll just be glad if I get a ticket. So I was like, Nikki and I might just go sit with him. I don't know that I can.
I don't know how it's gonna be set up for your place, but
yeah, because they haven't announced the venue, so my guess is probably the Grady Cole Center, which is where they've done NXT shows there. When PWX did when they did the shows with New Japan, they were in this venue. So it would still probably be far enough away. Like, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's not going to be like
as Brett called it, when they bring out the fuckery, there's a lot of it.
Yeah. So, so
bring
I'm
your
really
safety goggles if you guys are
probably. Matthews noticed, like, he looked to see who was because GCW tagged wrestlers in it. So he tagged some of the regulars like Effie and Allie Catch, which I was like, as long as you bring me Effie, and I really want to. I saw Nick Gage in AEW. I really want to experience his entrance, because I've seen how the fans respond to him, and it just seems like it's this like really organic, cool, kind of like the Suzuki thing, like the Kaze Ninare kind of. Nick Gage kind of has that with his entrance, so I was like, I want to experience that. So I hope that Nick Gage is on this card. But then Matthews said that they tagged Speedball Bailey, and I hope hope that we are getting him, because I am so impressed with him. And like, there was a really cool, I don't know if you've seen it, there was a really cool spot from GCW last night. He wrestled Joey Janela. He put Joey Janela through a table. Like, not in the way that you would think. Like, it's in, like, Joey went through the table.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Just dropped down. Like, it was insane. Like, that gif is, I've seen the gif a lot.
To check that out.
I will retweet it on the Powerbombshells too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really hope that we're getting Speedball. So I don't care who we're getting, really. I'm really looking forward to that show.
That's so cool.
I'm
That's
so
super
excited.
exciting.
I don't think that Suzuki will be there, especially because it's in August and he might be in Japan. But I'm very excited regardless. And I can't wait to go. And so now I will have a GCW experience to talk about. So we are planning ahead. So now we have, because we were joking the other day, like how we were planning for August because we were planning for G1. And now we have another August topic.
We're set for topics, and that's not including stuff like Becky Lynch trying to convince us that it's a better place, the better women's division in the AEW.
Exactly. And then we also have, probably that will be on the next episode, you're going to talk about the William Regal thing, right?
I am going to talk about it a little bit, because I want to, like, not only just like fully listen to it, but I want to bring up a couple of things that I think you'll enjoy, like seeing pictures of some of the guys.
Yes, please do.
Talking about, because there was a time in British wrestling that they had their own attitude era, basically.
Wow.
And it was huge. And like, we're talking about, like, the royal family would speak to, like, and the guy that wrote a book that my friend recommended to me way back when I was first starting to get into things, called The Wrestling. The guy that wrote the book went through all these things to try and get information and compile the history of it and all these things. But some of the stuff that he talked about, and it was amazing, because he was like, these were like everyone. It was their version of the Attitude Era. Wow, everybody, so like, cool. Everything stopped on Saturday when World of Sport was on. And it was, usually that's when football day is. And so I just thought it'd be really fun, because I know that you would enjoy some of the, especially some of the big names.
Yeah.
And in terms of people that are wrestling today, right this minute, that I know you like, because we've talked about them being influenced. So
fantastic. Yes, I'm really looking forward to that conversation. So episode 11 is going to have some cool stuff. So
I wanted to prep for that. I wanted to have time to dig up. I have some good text photos of some of those
perfect.
guys,
I cannot wait to see. Yeah, that'll be really cool. So we will, like I said, we will have an episode 11 next week. It may be a day off. We may record on Saturday and it just still comes out on Sunday. Or we may record, we're trying to figure that out, but there will be an episode 11. We didn't get to 10. We didn't get to 10 to stop now.
Nope. So we have a freaking logo now.
Okay? We do. And we have a cool new intro video. And we have
right
and it's May the 1st, and we have topics for August. So episode 11 is coming, and not in August. It will be it'll be next week sometime. So.
And there's still all these like pay-per-views left.
Yeah, there's so much. So Double or Nothing's coming. The Forbidden Door. I don't know when we'll get. I know tickets go on sale Friday.
May
so 6th. So I don't know how.
I'm gonna try and I'm going to rub some change together and try and make my way.
I'll send all the positive vibes to Mel so that she can go.
I'm rubbing some things. I'm rubbing some magical monies, and I'm praying to all of the
all the wrestling goddesses.
I'm praying to Okada.
So I don't know how quickly we'll get matchup announcements, but hopefully soon. I mean, it probably won't matter, because whoever's going to be. I know people are like, well, we don't even know what the card is. I don't really care, because it's going to be. I realized this is my counter argument to that. That will be the big final counter argument to that. When I bought tickets for Madison Square Garden for that dual card that was an ROH show, everybody, it wasn't, but it was an ROH New Japan super card that ROH got everybody in on. When I bought those tickets,
Kenny Omega was still gonna be, had just won or was about to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, we were potentially gonna, we say that we were gonna get the next Omega Okada like match.
Yeah.
But like that, seriously, that was in the queue. That was like, if AEW doesn't come along that year, that card is a little different. And I bought those tickets with not knowing anything about anything, and I don't regret it for 1 second.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna deliver. I mean, they
don't let you down.
And they can't not do that. And so I think that the card will be, I don't know why. I guess maybe they just maybe they're used to being disappointed because of wrestling. Because they have WWE. They have WWE brain. Yeah, and so, and I get it, but I was like, when I saw the announcement, I was like, I don't really care who, and I was like, I think that, and I was like, clearly, like, John Moxley's going to be on that card. We're gonna get, because Jay White came out and was talking, we're probably going to get the Bullet Club versus the what are they called, the Undisputed Elite. That seems like
there you go.
That's probably happening, because he said it's about the Bullet Club and Undisputed Elite.
It should do like a Stadium Stampede or something style thing.
So cool. That would be really cool.
A New Japan AEW Stadium Stampede style deal.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. So I think regardless, it'll be fine. But yeah. So we're getting off on a tangent. The show is supposed to be an hour, and we're closing at an hour and 20 minutes. But we also had to talk about BOSJ, which was unexpected. Yeah, and I didn't know I was watching a DEFY show until yesterday afternoon. So
there you go.
I threw things off.
We're a little over, but hey.
Yeah. So we're trying to we're going to start trying to keep the shows at an hour. It just kind of depends on how things go. Because we appreciate your time. We know that you all have things to do. You have wrestling to watch like we do.
Yeah, right.
So we appreciate you taking time out of your day or even if you have us on in the background or whatever, like, we appreciate that. And so we're going to try to be mindful of your time, and we're going to work on that. And I guess that's pretty much it for this week. And this is episode 10 of Powerbombshells. We've made it to the double digits. We are not going to be stopping anytime soon, so you're stuck with us. And so make sure you're following us on the Twitters. There's the Powerbombshells one. We're both on Twitter. Mel, I've tweeted her Instagram link a few times, so you can go like her GCW pictures. So yeah, and of course make sure you're subscribed to Fight Game Media's YouTube. So that there's a lot of cool content. People work really hard to bring you wrestling content. So please subscribe and make sure that you know when there's new episodes, especially because next week we don't know if we'll be on Sunday or not. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you can see when there's a new episode. And of course, we'll tweet about it. But I think that's it for us this week.
Perfect. All right. You guys have a really, really nice time between now and the next time we see you.
Yes, and come talk to us on Twitter and send us gifts.
Yes, we love that.
We do.
I'm ending the broadcast now.